Today I'm driving a vehicle from Tata. It's got a bed in the back, it's got a diesel engine, and it's got a front cab.
No, not this. It, however, is built to a different scale. A very different scale.
This is the Tata Hitachi EH3500, and it's absolutely mad. When it comes to trucks and SUVs, size is really important. And the truck we have behind us and above us is something that's not likely to be beaten for a long time.
So come, let's walk around and under this thing, get to understand its titanic forces, and then see if I can actually drive this beast.
Now let's take a closer look at this beast. And stay with me, this might be a little difficult. Behind me is a 3-meter tall tire that has around 35 fastening nuts. It's a 3700R57. And of course you can see the scale of the tire is just nuts, and it has a compound tread. That's so that it's soft enough to grip but strong enough to take the load. Can you guess the weight of just the tire? Well, it's 3 tons just for the rubber part, not even the rim. Let's take a look at something else really fascinating. Now, it's pretty amazing. I often feel I've gone into the set of Honey, I've Shrunk the Kids, and I'm one of the kids that's been shrunken down, and I'm looking up at this truck, which is absolutely dwarfing me. It's pretty wild. Now normally it's difficult to take a look at the suspension, but here it's pretty easy. It's a single strut, helium and air, and that takes the load on the front of this truck. And what you can also see right here is the disc brake.
Strange thing, the disc brakes don't do much of the braking. More on that later.
And up there is the engine that provides the motive force. Now, it's a little difficult to explain. Let's see, we're used to thinking in cc, 100cc motorcycle, 1 liter for a car. So this engine in cc's is 50,000 cc. It's a 50.3 liter engine. How many cylinders? 16 cylinders in a V, 4 turbos. It's a quad turbo setup, and each of them has 2 channels. So that's how it gulps in that massive amount of air and churns out around 2,000 horsepower. And how much torque? 7,871 Newton meters. And that's what you need to be able to pull this beast.
Now an engine of this size will need a lot of fuel as well.
This tank is 3,600 liters.
But let's go back and take a look under the truck.
Now that's the 50 liter 16-cylinder engine up front, and of course behind the engine you always have the gearbox. But what's this? That's not a gearbox, that's a generator. It's a 3-phase generator. So the diesel engine makes the power, turns the alternator makes current and sends the current back to the rear motors, and that's how the truck is driven. No gearbox, no differential, super efficient. Now here's a really interesting bit. That there, of course, looks like a differential, but it isn't. It's where the 2 electric motors are sat, one on each side.
What's neat is that this actually opens up and you can climb in.
Now looking inside, what you can see first are these 2 discs, and they're the parking brakes. Behind them are the AC motors. Now this vehicle has 3 exhaust outlets. There's 2 up there in white, which you can see clearly, and there's another one here at the edge of the loading bay, and that one helps heat up this tray, this loading bay. All the coal slides off easily and doesn't stick to the pan.
Now for something else that's quite different.
And what you see here might look like headlights, but these and the ones on the other side are actually air filters, and you can open them through these butterfly nuts, pull the old element out, change it, and of course have your air filter serviced in a jiffy.
And what's underneath is also quite different.
And what you see here at the bottom are dust collectors, and then the dust drips out of this because there's so much dust in this environment. Those get clogged and they let the dust drip out through gravity. And what's the total weight? It's 322 tons.
Now for the scary bit. To drive this beast, and I'm not sure I can manage, I have to first climb up a ladder that goes diagonally across the radiator. Now inside the cabin, and there's a pretty good view outside, but where do we start?
Let's start with that 360-degree camera. Now we're all used to them, but obviously for this vehicle, it's an essential piece of the vehicle itself. That tells you what's around you. You can change the modes from these buttons, increase the brightness, and get a fair picture of what is around, especially things which are right in front of you or right behind you. And you also have another camera made by Hitachi that's especially for the rear, in case someone's come up to you close, and of course you won't know when you're sat in this building. Now right in front, a digital instrument panel, and you can see the RPM, max RPM for the engine. The red line is 2100 RPM. You can take it to around 2.5 according to this dial. Right next to it is a speedometer which shows around 80 kilometers an hour, but I doubt it does that. Maybe around 55, 60, that should be the tops. Now the really interesting bit is this accelerator, brake, and a separate brake for the discs. It's labeled hydraulic brakes, and unlike a normal electric car or a hybrid where you press on the brakes and you initially get regen and then later the friction brakes are applied, this one has two separate pedals.
Alright, time to get going. I actually have cold sweat.
So the way to start is release the parking brake with your foot on the brake, select forward, and then gently add a bit of power. You can hear the RPM going up on the engine, and then you move forward pretty smartly. I'm not using more than 10% of the throttle, and it's really going forward in an easy, effortless manner. Wow, yeah, they do retard pretty quickly, but of course, right now I'm not carrying 190 or 200 tons. Now this is something exceptional. It feels more like a boat or a launch or something of that size rather than a vehicle with wheels. And it just seems I'm floating down this path, and I have to look at the width, judge how far that right side of the vehicle is, and then take a turn. It's pretty unnerving, it's pretty scary, and the fact that I'm sat somewhere 2.5 or 3 floors up makes it a bit more disorientating. And amazingly, this turning radius is pretty incredible. Now this truck has electric motors that make it accelerate, but the power delivery is extremely linear. You rev the 16-cylinder engine more and it moves forward smartly. You rev it less and that's the amount of power you get. You really don't feel that there's no transmission and no real differential, and it's all happening through electric motors. The system is pretty seamless and quite impressive. Now I must say, sat here in this cab right up front, the visibility on this side, on the left side of the vehicle, is pretty good, and there's a massive full-length mirror on the right which I'm using when I'm making my turns. And of course, everything has to be done gradually, everything with a sense of purpose and looking forward, thinking forward, and placing the vehicle once you've thought about where it's going, how it will go there, and how much the momentum will affect it once it's there. Now, ride comfort. You can't expect a vehicle of this size and this payload to deliver a comfortable ride. And as you can see, the cabin is moving around a lot. But this truck actually has a pitch control stabilized when it comes to ride, so it's a bit flatter than its rivals. Now let's talk about steering feel, and well, there hardly is any. You just have to turn it like a ship's wheel more than anything else. And I keep coming back to that ship kind of reference because you do feel as if you are actually gliding along on water, steering it with the rudder at the rear. But I'm surprised as to how comfortable and relatively easy this vehicle is to operate once you understand the size, the performance, the power, the brakes, the width, the height, and all the other factors associated with it, especially the momentum and where that momentum is carrying you even at slow and medium speeds.
As I drive along, I sort of forget that this thing weighs 140 tons even when it's empty. The engine redlines at 2100 RPM, but 800 RPM is all you need to get it moving. And then after 1200 RPM, there's a big ramp up in the performance. Again, if you're looking for scale, check out those other cars in the windscreen. Must say, this diesel-electric combo works superbly. We asked Tata Hitachi MD Sandeep Singh what the plan was for his new mine truck.
We got a great success of these 5 machines which we have given to Coal India. We are now planning to assemble these machines in a Kharagpur plant. Our core competence is in making excavators. We have range of excavators starting from 2 ton to 120 ton, localized in India, and we produce them at our Kharagpur and Dharwad plant.
It costs roughly 20 crore, and while you can buy one, there's no way you can really drive it. Unless you have your own mine, that is. Massive, efficient, high-tech, and a perfect fit for the job of hauling nearly 200 tons, the EH3500 AC3 is a machine that distorts reality. Basically as large and as formidable as an apartment block on wheels, it combines diesel-electric hybrid tech, massive size, and weight into the same equations seamlessly. What an extreme machine, and what an engineering feat! And that we can build these machines, control the forces, and make them relatively simple to operate just says so much.